Morning, everybody. Hey, Exponential. Morning, Bill. Tom, yeah, daylight savings time has got me every day. Every day. Hey, Squid Lips. Morning, Bob.
But again, like I said, this is
Morning, Juan. All right, folks. Well, what do we got going on today? It is Wednesday today, so we always have crude oil inventories at 10:30. That shouldn't really affect the equities. And then at 1 p.m. there is the 30-year bond auction. And those bond auctions have been pretty significant for the market as of late. Well, this market is decided to grow like grass today. I really enjoy this range though on the S&P. This is super clean so far. If we can keep this up, we might have some beautiful range plays. Crude oil is in a nice uptrend overnight if anyone's interested. So the price action on the S&P versus the Nasdaq is slightly different. The S&P is a clear range. The Nasdaq has some bearish tendencies, if you will, today. We got a high, lower high, probably even a lower high here, and then lower lows as well. Too early to draw a wider channel. But we definitely want to keep this in the back of our mind, as it has, for sure, has a chance of being legit. We'll keep our eyes on the S&P to also make that determination. Hey, Carrie, good morning. Hey, Toad, morning. Eight minutes here until the market opens. Thank you, Robin. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm gonna be dropping more of those each week. Some chart review videos. Help aid in the studying so we can all get better at price action. I did go long crude oil, by the way. We'll see if that works out. Oil inventories is 10:30. 10:30 is when they always do it on Wednesdays. So yeah, I definitely have time to get out of my trade before then. And for sure want to be out before then. The inventories usually send oil futures all over the place. We got 4 minutes until the market open, and literally price has been right here for like a half an hour. Craziness. It looks like we have an hour before the open just based on the price action. It's nuts, man. So hopefully the market open can get us going somewhere. Saif says, I am long to take profit at the top of the range. What do I think? That's generally what I target if I'm trading in a range. But that's totally dependent on you, on what your risk is on the trade, what your risk typically is on the trade. You want to make sure that you're getting enough reward out of your trades relative to your risk. So you don't want to cut trades early. It's really hard to answer that question, but personally, I would be buying at the bottom of the range and targeting the top. Tinfa. Yeah, but even beyond just the financial advice piece, it's really hard to say, like, should I take profit here or here? Well, I don't know, like, how much are you risking? What's your usual profit? If you take profit there, is it going to be a tiny win compared to your losses? What's your win rate? I mean, there's so many X factors, right? But just from a price action perspective, that's what I try to do, is buy here and then take profit here. Also, market is opening in 1 minute, so that could make things fun. Morning, Sage. Yeah, Sachs guy for sure. I don't see any reason why one should get stopped out if they entered here on the bottom. All right, there is the bell. Yo, Matthew, what's good? Nasdaq dropping here on the open. And it looks like I'm going to be taking profit on that oil trade. Locking in 13 ticks on that. Well, I'm trailing my stop at 13 ticks. It could continue rocketing up here. We'll see. Nasdaq reaching the bottom of that channel. Looking quite bearish. On the S&P, we were just right in the middle of the range, so nothing really we can do here. Just got to be patient. All right, took profit on that oil trade for like 13 ticks there. That was a textbook trade if anyone else took that. And the Russell 2000's having a big spike up. So I might actually look for a long on there if we can get it. Kind of crazy here. We got the Nasdaq down, the S&P chopping, and the Russell 2000 spiking up. Like what? What is wrong today? Something's crazy. Hi Lord, what's going on? Good morning. Hi Lord asks, obviously the EMA is more important to the price action, but how often do you use the RSI? I use it 0% often. The RSI is basically just measuring a ticker's strength against the ticker itself. So all it's telling us is, hey, this ticker is weaker than it was a little bit ago. But I don't really need an indicator to tell me that. I can see right here. Yeah, this is weaker than it was a little bit ago. Oops. So yeah, not really needed. So the overbought on RSI does not mean much in indicating a scalp opportunity. No, I wouldn't say it does. And I'd be cautious too just about trusting the overbought and oversold nature of the RSI. Because I would challenge you to go look at a chart and see for how long a stock can stay technically overbought or oversold according to the RSI. It's pretty astounding sometimes. Like, okay, I'm getting the signal, it's overbought. It's still overbought. It's still overbought. It's still overbought, and you've lost. So, yeah, I don't find it to be a very helpful indicator. Maybe as like a kind of a warning signal, perhaps. Like, okay, maybe we're gonna start a different market cycle now. But as a trade signal, I don't think it's very useful. Personally, that's my personal opinion, right? I'm sure there's traders out there who love the RSI, and hey, all the power to them. Matthew, I do actually have the 1OP up. I do. It helps me avoid some late entries. Like if a trend has been going up for a while, and we're starting to get that pull back to the EMA, but the 1OP is dropping, I won't usually buy. And the 1OP, for those of you interested, is a proprietary indicator made by a guy named Pete Stolzers in the one option community. Yeah, I think, Tom, a cumulative delta to me would be a lot more helpful. And yeah, exactly as that, like checking for divergences. All right, Gene. Are you long or short? Long, gotcha. I personally don't like a long here because of the bearish bias. We've had a high. This one was slightly lower. This was definitely lower. And then we've just continued down from there. There was no touch here at the top. Now, this could definitely work out. I don't personally enjoy it. Plus, the Nasdaq is in a downtrend, as you can see. So, but yeah, if you're going for a quick scalp, if you're already out, that's totally different. But I'd be targeting the other end of the range, so wanting conditions where a buy here would lead to a good take profit here. No, Arthur. I mean, I look at the daily chart to understand the overall market bias for sure. So, you know, if you're looking at the overall market, obviously we're in uptrend. But I would say the opposite. Yesterday ended with a big green candle towards the high. You're more likely to continue. This is strong. This is strong price action. So, got to get out of the mentality that like, oh, it went up, it must go down. That's not always true. Usually if things are going up well, they will continue. Now we might have a kind of a choppy day. The market digesting the gains from yesterday. But yeah, if you see something like this, if you see a chart like this, your first thought should definitely not be, oh yeah, it's definitely got to go down. We've gone up for so long. No. That kind of thinking will get you in a lot of trouble in the markets. When you see something like this, you should be saying this is likely to continue. Especially if it's going up. Matthew, I'm really not tempted. No. I'm really not tempted here. As I mentioned, I don't like the market never touch the top of the channel. Plus, look at the Nasdaq. It is just continuously down. So all the tech is failing. That is likely to drag the rest of the market with it. To go long in a range, I need to see very clear, consistent range action. This looks really good up to here. From the bottom to the top, almost to the bottom, but to the top to the bottom again. You know, it's oscillating really clearly between the two. If this would have come up to the top, I would have been much more interested in buying down here. This came up to the top and maybe, you know, had like that and then started working down. I really like that, and that would have been a buy for me. But when you see those spaces, that's your first warning sign. And then again, just if the Nasdaq was in a range, I might have bought this too. Like that would have been an exception, I guess. If you see both markets in range, and maybe it's not perfect, you know, maybe it didn't quite get to the top. Okay, well, you at least have more confidence that the indices are doing the same thing, but you don't want to try to go long when all the main stocks in the S&P are dropping. All the top stocks in the S&P. This is Apple, this is Microsoft, this is Tesla doing this. Yeah, Matthew and Tom, that is the difference between on-base volume and cumulative delta. So on-base volume um, is basically the total uh, like selling pressure based on price action. So if the price closes higher compared to the previous close, it would accumulate volume and vice versa. Whereas the cumulative delta is looking at a specific price. So yeah, like the difference between the bid and the ask. Very, very slight break in the channel here. Forgot also to mark our gaps here. I don't know that they'll come into play. Oh, we like opened right around the close. Never mind. No gap today. The Nasdaq still heading down here. Might be able to draw this as a secondary channel. The NQ could keep bouncing from here. We do have possible second entry short forming right here. Man, hard to take though. We're just coming off the bottom of that channel. We might need to correct more. as the S&P as well. Kind of looks primed for a bounce. $9 a.m. coming up. I'm not sure what that means. It's already past 9 a.m. market time. And we don't have any news scheduled aside from crude oil inventories, but that shouldn't really affect the equities. Well, we've had a second entry short here. Might be interested in joining if we can get a lower high. Good morning, Ed is next. We'll just call you next. How about that? Getting to be the donate zone, Arthur. I'm with you on that one. Very choppy action here. We have a mini little congestion here. And if you were bold enough to just go short on the EMA, still has a chance. EMA is holding so far. I'm not even going to attempt to say your name. This Shenis. All that kind of information is in the description, my friend. It's not a time frame, it's a tick chart, the 2000 tick chart. Oh, that makes sense, Tom. I don't know why I didn't think of it like that. And there's our drop. There's our drop. So if you went short on the EMA, you were rewarded. And that is a pretty good setup. That is a pretty good setup. On both indices, actually. On the S&P and the Nasdaq, you could have risked the EMA. I just thought we were in for a little bit bigger of a correction. But that's okay. Not going to get all of them. It was low. It was low. And the concern with the S&P is that we do have this prior range. We're starting to get choppy, right? This could be a base here that then starts working back up into the range. Arthur, that's awesome to hear. That was awesome to hear. 2 funded accounts now. Great. Great. I wish you the utmost of success on those. Take them slow. Don't try to get to payout too quick. Build those things up slowly and you'll be on your way. Leave a cushion in them too. That's my other recommendation. Don't take the max payout. But yeah, really glad you're enjoying the streams. If anyone else, if you're also enjoying the stream, give it a like. I think we only got like 15 or something likes, something like that. There's 40 people in here, so let's boost that up a little bit. And if you don't like the stream, let me know. Let me know what I can do to improve. Or get the, no, I mean, let me know, let me know. Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it. Saif, that is not what I was going to say, alright? Definitely not. Definitely not. Nah, I'm joking too. I hope you guys can start to understand my sense of humor eventually. It's very dry. which is funny because when I was a kid, my dad has a very dry sense of humor, and I hated it so much. I was like, Dad, stop the puns. It's just not funny. It's so embarrassing. And then, of course, you know, that's all I know now. All right, so our move down did have a break and a new low. There you go. Move down, break, new low. So maybe we are set for a bounce here. Still trying to figure out what's going on in the Nasdaq. Whether it's the secondary channel that's legit or that first one, I am not quite sure. Probably this one. It's getting respected a bit more. We have a slight overshoot, and the S&P is set to bounce, so I don't think I'm going to take a short here. I'm glad, Sage. That's all I got. That's all I got to offer here. Trading and dad jokes. If you like trading and dad jokes, smash that subscribe button. I don't think I mentioned it earlier. Oh, congrats, by the way, Gene. Glad you got that trade. I don't think I mentioned it earlier. Today is the last day of the Apex sale. Last day for the 71% off, 3-day pass, and $35 resets. So especially if you're trying to pass those challenges quick and you have the bigger accounts, I'd take advantage of those $35 resets. And we'll see. I did predict. Now let's have it go on record yet again. I am predicting that perhaps that 3-day pass might be kind of the standard for Apex now, and maybe even the $35 resets. I don't know. I don't think it'll be right away, you know, because the sale's ending. But probably next time they run a sale and then go back, this is probably what the fallback is going to be. I hope, because I think that's a really good deal, honestly. But for now, it's going to be ending, so make sure you are taking advantage of that if you want. Is it really ending though? That's the question, Saif. That's the question. The thing about Apex, I think we've gotten so used to like, oh, they just run sales all the time. But oftentimes or lately I would say, They've been sticking to their word. When they say something's going to end, it actually does end. Like they said they weren't going to do 90% off for a long time, and they didn't. It was like 5 months or something. So we'll see. We'll see. All right, we got a break at this little channel. Looking to get that new high. All right, later, Gene. We might end up having a wider channel here if this keeps pushing up. Seems to be fitting pretty decently. What if one day Apex is like, all right, guys, we're just gonna go back to regular price. Sales were fun and everything, but yeah, thank you. Imagine the uproar. They will go bankrupt. Maybe, or people, you know, I got a feeling folks might still do it. Like, well, I got no other options, man. I really want to get funded here. And their price is still actually quite competitive, even at full price, compared to like Top Step and others. All right, SPY is above the VWAP. We're back in this range here. All right, well, if we continue this uptrend, might consider a long, especially if we are still above the VWAP on SPY. And if the Nasdaq is participating. All right, so here's what I got on the Nasdaq. double checked that channel, and it does look like we might have an overshooted there, which would explain this reversal. Popped out of the bottom of the channel. So yeah, this might lead to a market reversal. We'll see. This could also just be two little legs, and then we go and make a new low. Those are measured legs too. But the VWAP for the Qs is like right here. Actually, it might even be lower. I think it's like right here. So maybe we go test that. I don't know. Yes, on that pullback. I don't like taking anything right around this area, as this was previous support, then resistance. Now we don't know. Now we don't know. Yeah, Toad, we might test the low of the channel on the Nasdaq. I'm still waiting to see, especially how the S&P does. Boys and girls, toads and crickets. Haha. There you go. What's up, Fury? Good to see you. ES is stalling out right around VWAP, which is also incidentally the low of that previous trading range. So really key area here as far as what is going to happen. We shot below the EMA. See if we can get back above and maybe make a new high of this small channel. Right, we're getting that push above the EMA. It does look like if I were a betting man, which I am, I would think we would get a new high of the short-term uptrend. Can't enter up here for me though. I would have needed to enter back here to get the right risk for that. Hey, morning, Daryl. So we do have a second entry long here that is already formed right here and right here. If we can get a higher low, looks like we're just going to shoot up to a new high, but if it can pull back and get a higher low right at the EMA, I will be interested in taking that. Come on, baby. Move on down. Give us that higher low. And that would give me enough confidence to buy. Want to tempt sellers one more time with a little push down that then reverses. Ooh, I like this bearish bar. EMA needs to show signs of support though. And that bar needs to tick lower. So far that's just a double bottom. This actually needs to go lower and then reverse. Ace, great question. What is my risk management strategy? I will explain in just a sec. you're kind of hitting on it. And actually, this looks like this is way too high to buy anyway, so I'm done looking for that setup. Maybe. No, I'm considering it. I don't know, that bar's so big. Anyway, yes, my risk management strategy is I have a defined amount that I want to risk. Then I figure out the number of contracts based on the chart setup. You nailed it. You nailed it. So, I usually, my risk is around 800 per trade. Of course, it can't be exact. So yeah, then I'll figure out on the chart where I'm going to enter, where my target is going to be, what my risk is going to be, and I'll switch my number of contracts that way. So right here, like if I was looking to get in on the EMA and target the high, that's 187 per contract, so I'd probably do 5 contracts. Or, you know, let's say that I was buying back here, I was buying the range and looking for the range high, and my risk always starts off at 1-to-1. So if I was doing that, I'd be looking at 10 points, so $500 per contract. So I would probably only trade 1 contract to start and then add into it later if my risk is 800. So yeah, that's how I approach it. And then another thing I do, if I'm trading 2 tickers at the same time, like often I will take a trade on the S&P and the Nasdaq at the same time. Hold on one sec. So if I'm doing that, I'll split the risk up usually between the 2 tickers, especially because the S&P and the Nasdaq are so highly correlated. Likely they will both either be winners or both be losers, so I will just risk 400 on each of them, so I don't have a double loss. The double wins are nice, but I don't like those double losses, so that's usually what I do. And then I'll add in if price is showing me that it is pretty much guaranteed to hit my profit target, I'll add to it. I'll double down my position. And that way my winners are bigger than my losers. I'm going to also shorten up my risk as things improve as well, so that if it reverses on me, I take a smaller loss. So those are ways, starting at 1-to-1 risk, to build the edge better by adding to winners and cutting losers shorter. Do I add on after a higher low? Yeah, well, that's another thing I'll do. If let's say I just enter randomly at the EMA. Well, not randomly, but I'm expecting a move up. I enter long on the EMA, and then a second entry long forms, I'll add there. And then if a higher low forms, I'll add there. Yeah, that's more or less what I do. Of course, there's nuances, but that's generally, that will give me confirmation that the trade has a good chance of succeeding. Just feels like this is going to explode higher here at some point. S&P is above the EMA. Nasdaq is right below it, but it looks like it wants to at least test it. At least touch it, you know what I mean? And it's right here, so I think we're at least going to do that. If I had a better risk structure here, I'd enter along. But it's pretty high up to enter. Wow, it's already 7:30. That's nuts. I mean, 10:30 market time. Crude oil inventories coming out right now. So if you're in crude, get flat real quick. We made a double top there, ending on a bearish bar. All right, we got a new high there on that uptrend. Yeah, maybe running stops. We'll see. The Nasdaq just a couple points away from making a new high there. All right, new high on the Nasdaq. And that does put the Nasdaq above the EMA. We'll see if it can close there. Or sorry, the VWAP. All right, well, we'll see what can happen now. Let's move up. Had a break, has a new high. We were expecting the market to correct a bit. How deep that correction is, we will see. The Nasdaq had a rejection at the VWAP. Move up, break new high. Same, we are correcting. And I like, if we can get a pullback sooner than later, I do like taking a short on the Nasdaq, aiming for that new low of the day. But yeah, this is a point of contention right around here. Again, this range, previous range support is right around where the VWAP is. So buyers and sellers are duking it out right now. No clear confirmation who's going to win. Just want to be patient and see. Let's go, market. Make a decision here. Bull or bear? It is, Anthony. It is. One of the things that people just don't tell you about trading. And oftentimes, this is what it is, man. A little bit boring. But, would you rather do this or dig ditches? That's what you always got to keep in mind. Or go sit at a desk somewhere. Do paperwork. Anything else. Imagine any job. What would you rather do? I know what the answer is for me, for sure. market is like, if you've ever seen that movie Zootopia, there's a sloth there that works at the DMV and he takes like 30 minutes to process everything. That's what the market feels like right now. And if you haven't seen Zootopia, honestly, it's a good movie, even if you don't have kids. It's actually, I would say it's a little bit dark for kids. At least my kids. It's a good movie. Shout out Zootopia. All right, here we go. Move up on the Nasdaq. Pretty decisive. We'll see if it can close above the VWAP. So we are getting some of that movement up. The tricky part is that's a really wide channel, right? We don't want to trade that. At least not yet. It needs some more confirmation. You know, it would need something like this for me. But we're not there yet. So even though we have some movement upwards, I can't really buy just yet. Need a better uptrend than this. Well, how are we doing out there, folks? A little quiet today. I hope that's because people are just waiting for something to set up and not digging a hole, digging a giant red hole that you got to dig out of. Man, sorry to hear that, Sage. Anyone else out there can relate or maybe throw some love for Sage? It sucks donating. It really does. There you go, Daryl. Get some good reading material. Get some good studying in while you're waiting for the market to do something. It's a good way to go. I earned a couple funded accounts that I'm getting all set up right now. So I'm making good use of the time as well. Add some more accounts to the quiver. Might be another non-trading day. You never know. The market can always surprise us, though. That's the thing. It can get pumping out of nowhere. Okay, here we go. Getting a little movement to the downside. Just looking where that trend line would be. It might be one of those fake out trend lines. Yeah, a fake trendline toad is just one that is like you got a range structure and you're setting too wide of a line, you know, something like this. Something like this you would not want to try to short if it comes up to it. Let's see if there's any other good examples. Not really, because yesterday was all over the place. But yeah, anyway, basically just a really wide channel in a range-like structure. So this might be one, as this is pretty choppy. And so anyone looking at this trend line might be in for a surprise. Ace is asking, has a few performance accounts within the 200 threshold. Man, sorry to hear that. That's tough. Any recommendation on how to bounce back besides setting a good risk management strategy in place, which I am looking to do? That's really hard. 200 is not a lot. So yeah, would for sure switch to like 1 micro probably. If it were me, I'd be looking to trade probably just 1 micro and just slowly build it. The other thing, you know, honestly, it's in dire straits, right? 200, again, you're very, very close to getting hit out. In all likelihood, you will hit it. Sorry, I don't want to have to say that, but I've been through it, so I know likely if it's gotten that far, it'll probably end up failed. So maybe what you do, one thing that I've done is like, okay, this one is not likely to bounce back. I'm gonna try to double it, like in a trade or two, knowing that it's kind of a coin flip at that point. If it's a bad trade, then you know, it'll be blown. But for me, I would rather do that sometimes than try to build it up for 2 months and then end up blowing it anyway. So that's another way to go about it. You can either build it up slowly or like, hey, I'm gonna try to double it here really quick, and then if you do that, you have a little bit more buffer, and then you can start building up slowly. So just kind of jumpstart that process. So those are kind of two ways that I would look at it. YOLO it and break even whenever you can. Yeah, maybe you YOLO, and then once it goes in your favor, you lock it in so you can't lose anymore. I like that idea. Yeah, try to hold for a trend day, you know? Enter, and once it goes into profit, set your stop at, once it goes well into profit, right? Set your stop at break even, and hopefully you can ride out a big move. That's another way. I like that. I like that idea. And so there is that fake trend line coming into play. That's exactly what I was talking about. Folks trusting that larger pattern in a choppy move, getting punished. And at this point, I do like a short on the Nasdaq to try to get to a new low of day. I mean the ES too. The ES too. We're just pretty close on the S&P. Don't have a ton of room unless we start getting a pullback now. So at this point in my process, some folks are asking about risk management. Here's when I am looking to try to figure out my size, right? Because I know I'm going to be entering around the EMA. So figuring out how many contracts I need to trade. I'm probably going to be taking the same setup on both the Nasdaq and the S&P, so I will split my risk between those two. And then I'm making sure that I got the trade copier going, so I can copy to all my funded accounts at the same time. And that is how I get ready. And then likely it'll just go down to the low of the day without pulling back, right? But at least I'm prepared. The other thing, Ace, is that resets are 35 bucks right now. So today's the last day for that. So it might be a good day, not financial advice, but if you're going to try to gain it back in a couple big trades, might be a good day for it. Because sorry, this is a performance account, so reset wouldn't apply for that. But usually when you fail a performance account, they give you a discount. Oftentimes it's 80%, I believe. So you might be able to get back in the game with not too much. Man, we are getting so close to that low day. Dang. Need that pullback now. Nice, Ace. Yeah, good, good. I like that determination. Give him a chance to bounce back. Trade small, grind it out, see what you can do. So close to getting a fill there. Come on, baby. It certainly might go back into range, Thomas. That is definitely a possibility. Oh, interesting. Got filled on some of my accounts. Not on this one yet. Doesn't look like the Nasdaq wants to even get back to the EMA. Let's see if we can get that fill. Again, I'm already short. Looks like most of my funded accounts got short on that tick. Just waiting for this one. All right, looks like we're gonna get that fill. Almost. Jeez Louise. Nasdaq's really close to getting filled as well. Cool. Got filled on here. Got filled on the Nasdaq. See if we can get some rejection. Nice, that's a good looking bar. That is a good looking bar. Was thinking about adding, but it doesn't look like that bar is going to give that really strong finish that I need. And it looks like we might be headed back into the range. SPY is testing the VWAP now. I got a feeling this is going to be one of those that gets stopped out and then goes back down to my target eventually. But had to take the risk on this. Low of the day was right there. We had a nice looking move down. So worth the risk. I am not bummed at all. Likely gonna get stopped out here. Yep, there we go. No worries. Again, as I said, worth the risk. You have your low of day right here. Several attempts to go up that failed. A nice move down and a pullback to the EMA. I like taking a chance on that one. And watch, this is when it goes back down. Actually, I am going to jump back in. Don't usually do this, but I think the likelihood is high. I'll tighten up my risk on this. Only going to risk this bar. Don't mind being wrong, but I don't want to get stopped out for just a little bit and then have it do exactly what I thought it was going to do. Worth taking a small risk on, in my opinion. Super small risk on the trade. Again, don't mind it. Don't mind it. This is like a 1 to 4 or 5 risk ratio or something like that. Something crazy. So I'm willing to take that risk. Trades like this work out about 30% of the time. And when they do, they hit big, so sometimes you gotta swing. Fully expecting to take the loss on this one, though. All right, there it is. Again, worth the risk for me. But now if it goes down, I'm gonna be pissed. Oh shoot, it's like way past time here when I usually stop my stream. Didn't even realize that. Didn't even realize that. So, alright, well, for the rest of the day, folks, let's check this out. Right now we have more or less of a trading range going on both the Nasdaq and the S&P. Sellers have not been able to get anything going, nor have buyers, and this may be what we look like for the rest of the day. So if that's the case, just keep it light. Look for the shortened, tighter channels when analyzing price action. That will do you a lot of good rather than looking for wide patterns. Wide patterns are not going to help you today. Clearly a range day. Lots of up and downs over the EMA. So keep those channels tight. Look for some solid ranges to play. Buy the low, sell the high. Y'all know the drill. And so, yeah, that's what I'll be looking for the rest of the day. As always, very good to have you guys with me this morning. I appreciate you all. Welcome all you new folks. If you're not subscribed to the channel, for sure do it. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Have a good one.